If you are a business owner running your business on your own, with your spouse, with your family, with a small team of people, this video, this whole channel is for you. My mission is to help you grow your business, make more money, and have an easier life. And in this particular video, I want to share something with you that came from some conversations, multiple conversations I've had over the last couple of weeks. In particular, one of our elite clients where I spent the whole day with them, and the conversation that they brought to the table triggered this one concept that I want to share with you here. And that concept is where people come and talk to me and are battered by the outside news. They're battered by the influence of social media. And when I say battered, they arrive and they sit at the desk, or we sit and talk to them in the room, and they just look at us and go, is it me or is it just getting harder? Is the economy nosediving? Is the world falling apart around us? And if you watch the news and you tune into the negative on social media and listen to other people's opinions about the world, you can very quickly believe that the world is about to end, all right? You can believe that there's no money out there. You can believe that it's actually very, very hard. Not just from the economics and political side of things and big world events that are going on, but also the threat of technology, how AI might affect you, how people have changed the way they want to work. They don't want to go to 5 days a week in the city. They want more days at home. All of that is having some impact on somebody somewhere, and collectively there are some changes. But guess what? Those changes have always been there. Those changes have always come at us as business owners. I've been doing what I've been doing for the best part of 35 years. I can remember the days when we had Margaret Thatcher. I can remember the days where poll tax was a thing and everybody was up in arms about this extra tax. I can remember the economy crashing because interest rates went through the roof to, I can't remember what they were now, 18, 19% on your mortgage plus base. I was one of those first-time buyers who had a mortgage at 23.5% because the government decided to mess with it. Whether they did it deliberately or what, I have no control over that. But the point is, there's always these cycles of things that come at us from an entrepreneur's point of view that are completely out of our control. And on top of that, we've got all this other news that is somewhat inspiring, but also actually, in a funny sort of way, makes you feel like a failure because you see the outliers, the industries where you get the influencers who have just exploded. Suddenly, there's somebody out there who's made millions. There's somebody out there who's made £100 million in one weekend. There's businesses turning people into billionaires. And then you see all the toys and the trappings, the yachts, the supercars. And it's exciting to look at all that. But there's an element of it that you look at and go, oh, isn't that exciting? And oh, one day, but look at my life and I feel like a failure. So all of this information that is coming us is not new. If anything, that information is coming at us perhaps a little faster than it was back in the 1980s when I was first experiencing this. But here's the thing. Here's what I want you to take away from this. And then from this, I want to then share with you how we fix this in our own minds and how we fix this from a practical point of view. So if you're up for that, if you're sitting here like this, thinking, oh, I want to get better, and you want to end up over here a little bit happier, making a little bit more money, winning. And that's what this is. You want to win. And as a business owner, you want to win. You want to win at life. Here's what I think is happening, is that we're all stood on the current rock. This is where we are today. And we all want to improve, win, agreed? And everything's coming at us that makes us feel sometimes like we're on a trajectory of losing. And therefore, this becomes a mindset game where we think that it's playing with our head because we don't know the outcome for the future. good or bad. It's just the belief level that we have. Sometimes we believe we're invincible and off we go and we think like we're going to win. Then sometimes something happens that's often out of our control and we create this negative story in our head and we feel like we're losing. And this is what happened with this client this week when they said, they sat down, we sit down once a quarter and they sat down, how things going. First thing they all said collectively, there were 6 of them in the room. First thing they all said collectively was, it's so hard out there. We have been, and these guys have traveled the world in the last quarter looking for business. Most of their business is outside of the UK. So they've been out in the world. So they feel like they've been out and seen the difficulties everywhere. And therefore the conclusion is that everywhere must be hard. And their mindset and their thinking was that we're working hard, but we seem to be going this direction. What can happen sometimes is that in addition to what we're trying to do, we also have the economy and the governments, put them all in the same thing. They're also on their rock today. And guess what the governments are trying to do? They're trying to win. They're trying to collect as much money in. They're trying to collect, put the processes in place. They're trying to put the economy right so that all of the people in the country can win. And of course, the political side of things has different viewpoints as to who should win and who shouldn't win and how we make this happen. And we control that with taxes and all the rest of it. And this economic world that we live in is driven by the decisions of millions of people, and it's driven by the decisions of what governments and people in control of this make decisions of, but it's our reaction to it as to how we react to it. And here's what I'm looking at in terms of when I'm talking to my clients. If you're on your rock trying to win, and the government is also trying to win, is the government outbeating you? In other words, you've got 2 gaps. You've got the gap between winning and losing in your own mind, in your own world, but you've now got this other gap appearing, which is the gap between what the government are trying to do and what you're trying to do to win. In other words, you're making a bit more money, you feel like you're winning, but taxes are going up, the cost of living is going up, the fuel crisis is going on, and everything else is going up as well. And although you might look at your business and say, well, I made more money than last year, but I feel poorer because we've got this hidden gap that's going on between what you think you should be earning versus what you actually need to earn. And it's this gap in our thinking, this gap in the numbers, that is where the problem is. And that's what we want to help you fix. The gap. The gap is where most of us have our problems, have our challenges. We have an expectation of this, and the reality is this. There's a gap between what our brain is saying that we should be at and what reality is. A simple example of that is you've worked hard all year. You think you should have cash in the bank and you should feel wealthy. But you look at your bank statement, you're overdrawn, you're in debt, and you don't seem to be winning on that front. So there's a gap. Now, some of that is a mathematical gap. Is that true? Because sometimes just because your bank account is low doesn't mean to say you're not winning. They had this situation a little while back. I had a client who was working on a series of projects, and at the end of the projects, they made a lot of money, life-changing money. A year later, they didn't have very much money. They put the money from their profits into the bank and then went, woohoo, and celebrated. They paid off their mortgage, they bought a flat, and they bought a boat. And so therefore the money now wasn't in the bank, it was in these assets. They had these things. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, they were looking at their bank account because that's what they'd spent the last few years doing, going, I've got no money. And so therefore their mindset was heading in this negative between the gap. What we had to do is have a bit of a reality check. Now, the problem is when you've turned cash into an asset, you've bought something, or even not an asset, you've got memories. You've bought a nice holiday, you've bought a nice car, you've bought something that is depreciating, or you've bought an investment, or you've put it into a pension fund, or you feel like you've secured your future. The problem is when you've run out of cash, you can't go to the supermarket and pay for things because it's all tied up. So you're asset rich and cash poor. A lot of people get themselves into that situation. And so the gap that we have here is the bit that we're trying to work out as to what that is. And more importantly, how do we fix it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the board, then I'll come back to you and I'll show you how we can fix it.
Before I clear the board, just a quick word. If you're watching this thinking, yeah, that's exactly where I am, and you'd rather talk to somebody than figure it out alone, here's what I'd suggest. Go to venturecoaching.com. There's a short form. Tell us what's going on in your business. Vicki and I read every single one personally. If it looks like we can help, we'll get back to you within 48 hours and set up a conversation. No sales pitch, just an honest look at your situation. And you'll walk away with some clarity. Either way, we work with established business owners who are ready for straight talking and ready to do something about it. If that's you, go to venturecoaching.com, start the conversation. Right, let's get back to that board.
Okay, board cleared. This is a model that I use an awful lot to help people who are sitting in a position of being stuck, worried, overwhelmed, or just battling to win. And I use this in diagrammatic form like this, or I use it in my mind to walk things through, because I've been doing this for a very long time and I've realized that whoever I'm talking to along the way, somewhere in amongst all this, this is going to relate. And I want to just share this with you here because we can then close the gap. So the point of this is that we want to actually close the gap between losing and winning, close the gap between what you believe to be not good enough to where you want to be, whatever that gap is. And the three interlocking circles simply are price, systems, and positioning. And if the reason they're interlocked is because if we get price, systems, and positioning right, you've got a better chance of achieving your goals, better chance of winning. All right. And normally somewhere in amongst these three circles, the opposite to those three circles is where the gap is. So if we start with price, the price that you charge for the thing that you do, whether that's a product or a service, you choose to offer your service to a customer, a client, and they say, how much? And you might put together an estimate, a quote. You might have a price on your website. You might have a calculation for that price, an hourly rate, a daily rate, a widget rate times a percentage rate, a percentage of the deal rate. There's a gazillion ways that you can calculate your price. But what happens is, along our journey, and I'm going to do our little journey thing again, we sit, let's do a little drawing down here. We sit on the rock that we're currently on, and we set our prices out to win. We maximize our prices. We make a decision. How much should I charge for that thing? We look around in the marketplace. We speak to a few prospective customers. We lay a price on the table. You might have even pushed it and went, well, I normally charge this, but I'll try this. And they said yes. Great. That kind of sets the benchmark for your pricing. From that one pricing point there, you might have incremental increases per year just to keep up with inflation. A lot of people do. I'll put my prices up each year, every couple of years, put my prices up. But the problem is that if that first price was too low and it should have been here, then what we should have been is up here. So we have a gap here because we never got our pricing right in the first place. You're increasing your prices every year, great. But if you started off with the wrong price, you're just missing out on all that compound element. So pricing is really important. The amount you charge comes down to the quality of your service, and your customer needs to perceive a value in what you deliver. That subject matter in and of itself is a complex subject. But the point is, if you haven't got your pricing right, the opposite to pricing is you will be poor. So if you're feeling poor, if money is a worry, if money is something that you're constantly thinking about, pricing is a good place to start. Because mathematically, we can fix the money worries with maths. If you are charging £100 and you increase that by 10%, That 10% mathematically will yield, on average, a 35% increase in profits. That's just maths. If you don't believe me, I've got videos on this. Put it in the comments, I'll link it to you. It's math. It's just maths. Increase the price. But of course, what I hear people say is, I can't put my prices up. And as these guys said, we can't put our prices up. One thing, we went to China. We priced up our service for the thing that we do, and the Chinese were looking for a price that was 25% of what we wanted to charge. So that the economy, again, is having a bash at you. So if we then bring in This Is You and we bring in the other rock for the economy is trying to do that. It's trying to beat you down. And therefore, the gap between what you want and what the economy says is also a gap. So pricing is a big thing to be looking at. Now, when we have those challenges, we have to change the way that we view those challenges. We have to say to ourselves, okay, the market is saying it won't pay any more than that, economy. What can we do differently? How can we still make this work? Well, sometimes you can lower your price because the most important thing that we're looking for, of course, is profit. Therefore, when we've studied our pricing, when we've studied the amount that we charge, the quality of service we deliver, the value that we deliver to our clients, we lean ourselves into systems because within systems, we have standard operating procedures, we have technology, we have accounting and budgeting systems. Do you have a budget in place? If you don't have a budget, if you don't have a good counts in place, that will link to your pricing. That'll make you feel poor. If you haven't got CRM systems, if you're not using AI, if you're not using automation, if you're not looking at how you can improve the efficiency of how you run things, then that efficiency is going to have an impact on your profitability. And therefore, the opposite to having poor systems is you feel overwhelmed. You feel overwhelmed, you feel out of control, you feel like it's all caving in on you, you feel like you've not got enough hours in the day. And therefore, if you're thinking that, you've got to be looking at your systems, your sales and marketing systems, your business systems. How do you look after your team, your staff? How do you look after yourself? Do you have a calendar? Do you task things properly? Are you prioritizing things? Do you know what? It's easy to look at it. I was looking at my task list this morning. I don't even know how many I've got a lot of tasks. I would guess probably about 60 tasks on my task list right now. But today, I actually have 3 things to do. The 3 most important things to do. One of them is to record this video, but I've got 3 really important things to do today. If I get those 3 things done today, those other 57 things on my task list, they have to wait. It's not a case of one's more important than the other. It's just that today, this is what I must do today. I've prioritized these things today. Therefore, I'm not caught up in trying to do 57 things from 6 o'clock this morning and then here at 9 o'clock at night recording this video because it's the most important thing to do. I'm going to record this video first. I'm going to do the other 2 things. I've done one of them already, and I'll do the 3rd thing afterwards, by which time it'll be lunchtime. So this morning I've hit out the most important 3 things for the day. Well, this afternoon when my energy has dropped off, I'll now look at the list and see if, number 1, if there's anything I have to do today, because I might just not do anything. And number 2, maybe I'll pick off a couple of things. And of course, as all of us know, sometimes when you beat into your task list, you can actually clear 15 things in an hour because they're all little things. Well, I'll finish the day on a bit of a win. So prioritizing is an important thing. Systemization of your business is really important. Now, what if you are feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling poor? Well, that suggests that the price and the systems are 2 big areas to be looking at. And we can break that down into further micro areas of that to see if we can fix that. Then we have something called positioning. Now, positioning is made up of 3 things. Rules and boundaries. Rules and boundaries of our business, of our life. How do we operate? How do we work? What rules do we have in our business? If you don't have any rules, then you're going to be challenged by things that come at you. Could be that everything from an open door policy in your office. You just allow yourself to be interrupted all day long. If you ever sit there and think to yourself, God, I never seem to get anything done, I'm always helping other people and therefore they come first. That's great. But when do you come first? So you need to block time for yourself. You need to shut the door and go and do some proper work and get those important things done. If you don't have a rule about the type of clients that you take on, if you just take on anybody and everybody, guess what? At some point, I guarantee you will have some shit clients because you don't have a rule to filter people out. If you don't have rules and boundaries about how you operate your business versus your home life, if you finish work and then you constantly take your work home and you sit on the sofa in the evening watching a movie with your loved ones and you're on your phone texting and messaging some of your clients, guess what's going to happen? Somebody's going to be upset. Somebody is going to be upset. I learned this a long, long time ago when the son was 8 years old. He's 31 now. When he was 8 years old, I was trying to work while he was trying to play. And I ended up getting cross with him because he interrupted me. He burst into tears and it broke my heart because he didn't do anything wrong. I was the idiot trying to work at my laptop while he was trying to play with me. And from that moment on, I vowed that every time I was with him, I was going to be with him, playing with him at an 8-year-old level and a 9 and a 10, etc. And when I'm at work, I'll go to work. And I separated the two instantly from that moment. It made such a difference to my life going forward. Because you can't do both. You can't be with your wife on a date in a restaurant and answer the phone for business. Somebody will be pissed off about that. So rules and boundaries are really important. How we project ourselves to the outside world, your confidence. How confident are you when you walk into a room? How confident are you when you actually go about your business? How confident are you about your pricing? Sometimes you have to put your big boy pants on. Sometimes you have to get a wheelbarrow to put your bollocks in because you're going to go out there and go, look, I used to charge £1,000 for this. This one's £10,000. If you did that, it will have a massive impact on your profit. But you don't just go, it's £10,000. You've got to get out there and you've got to justify it. You've got to say to your client, look, this is worth this much because this, and this. This is the perceived value. This is the quality of what we do. We have systems and processes. We can do this in this time. We'll guarantee it because you're confident. You've got to have some confidence. This is good for your positioning. And then the final part of positioning is what goes on up in here. I started this conversation off by saying it's easy to read all the news and have all the social media and feel like the world is caving in, to feel like the world is ending. It's doing it because you are feeding your mind. And one of my clients this week I spoke to summed it up beautifully. We talked about health. And I said to him, there's two parts of health. There's the health of your body, but there's the health of your mind. And he said, you know what? I go to the gym regularly for my body, but I'm not going to the gym for my mind. What he means is he's not feeding his mind good stuff. He's not reading good books. He's not listening to good audio. He's not watching good YouTube. Do you know what? If you are on social media, you can force it to give you good stuff to listen to. Find some people that you find that are really helpful to you. Go find them. Go subscribe to them. And anytime you get given slop you don't want, hit the 3 dots and go, not interested. Stop serving me this. Tell it. And watch more of the things that you want. Like the things that you want. Thumbs up on the things you want. And your feed will change and you'll get the things that you want. So you can influence it, but also think about how you operate. What's the thing that really drives you? It's our habits. It's our thinking. It's our mindset. That's the things that drive us into the person we need to become. And so therefore, if you haven't got very good positioning, you perhaps won't be feeling very worthy or confident in what you're doing. So if you're feeling your confidence is taking a bashing, if you're feeling a bit poor because you think you haven't got any money and you're feeling very overwhelmed, any one of these or all of these is covered by 3 things: price, position, and system. And I don't just tell you that because I made this up. I tell you that because I've been doing this for 35 years, helping thousands and thousands of business owners, watching and learning everything that you can possibly imagine in my career. I have seen small businesses that literally run from the kitchen table and have grown up to be a decent business that was sold for life-changing money. I've seen people running businesses where it all went wrong and they ended up in jail. I've seen businesses get it all wrong and they've been bankrupt. I've seen businesses that have gone from nothing to life-changing amounts of money, sold the business, still running the business, all sorts of everything in between. The vast majority of people that I work with set up a business and want to build a business to provide a sustainable income for their family going forward. They want to enjoy it. They want to make more money than they did last year. They want to have spare cash to do things they want to do. Most people want to do the things that most other people want to do. They want more time off and more holidays. They want a nicer house. They want a nicer car. They want some toys, a motorbike, a plane, a car, all these things. Lots of our clients have achieved a lot of that over the years, and that's what our mission is, to help them do that. And when they're not achieving that, when they feel like they're going backwards and the gap is growing, we have to ask ourselves the question, where is that gap? Is it a gap in thinking? Is it our positioning? Is it a gap in pricing? Is it a maths problem? So is it a mindset problem or is it a maths problem? Is it a system problem? Well, systems kind of a bit of both, mainly a maths problem because it's normally a technical thing. Do you have your accounting system? Do you know what your budget is? What is your target? What's this target figure that you're going for up here? Is it the right target? Are we actually aiming for the right thing in the first place? In other words, what's our goal? What are we really trying to do? If we say to ourselves, actually, I've sat down with my numbers and mathematically to provide the lifestyle I want to feel like I'm winning, over the next 12, 18, 24 months, I actually want to double, triple, or quadruple my profit. What does that look like? Well, the first thing you've got to get used to is that the government are going to be happy because they're going to want more tax. And if you've been used to paying 3, 6, 8, 10, 15, 20,000 pound tax every 6 months, great. You want to triple, quadruple your money? Get ready for a 100,000 pound tax bill. Imagine if you actually paid a tax bill that was twice what your profits are at the moment. That screws with your mind. Nobody wants to write that check. Nobody wants to hand that money over to the government, especially if you've read the news and you're feeling like, government, right? If you're anti-establishment, if you're anti-economy, if you're fighting that, it's going to affect your mindset. You won't want to earn the money because you won't want to give those bastards any more money. But the reality is, if you want to outrun the economy, if you want to outrun everybody else, if you want to improve your life, you've not just got to improve your life based on your thinking, you've got to look around the bigger world. And so you might find that your target of earning X amount of pounds next year is a great target, but it's way off what you need, because in there will be some tax to pay. In there will be some extra costs. Guess what happens when you get busy and you start earning more money? You start spending it. But you spend it on different things. Maybe you'll hire a cleaner for home. Maybe you'll hire somebody to come in and do all your laundry. Maybe you'll hire a gardener to do all the gardening. Maybe you'll hire somebody to wash your car every week. Great. Why? Well, you get your weekends back. You get time off. Maybe you've decided, do you know what? I'm only going to work 3 days a week. I'm going to have Mondays and Fridays off, but also the weekend because I've got family. Guess what you'll do? You'll go out and spend more money. Even if it's just to the cinema a bit more often. Go out for meals a bit more often. You'll spend more money. So you'll need to earn more money to achieve that lifestyle. Lifestyle won't particularly change. It'll just be a whole lot easier. But you'll look at your costs and go, shit, this just cost me $5,000 a month just to function, whereas it used to cost me 2,000. Right? You might move into a bigger house. Guess what will happen? Not only will the cost of buying the house, and maybe you have a small mortgage or a big mortgage, your mortgage payments will go up and you're just, oh, it's only another couple of £100 a month. I can do that. But the gas bill, the electric bill, the water bill will go up because it's a bigger house. The maintenance will go up because it's a bigger house. You'll spend more time cleaning and maintaining it because that's what will happen. And then you'll decide to do other good things that you want to do, bikes and cars and boats and things like that, which will take up your time, or sporting activities. You want to play more golf, or it's going to take up your time. So the stuff that you perhaps did because you had no money, you're now going to pay people. Wouldn't it be cool if you were comfortable paying 50% of everything you earn to the taxman. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not standing here saying you've got to pay more taxes. What I'm saying is you are going to pay more taxes when you make more money. But guess what? With my accountant hat on, as an accountant for 35 years, I can help you save tax. That's what we do. As well as coaching and mentoring, we have an accounting department and we run that for our clients. The thing is, if you're earning 10 grand a year, I can save you a bit of tax. If you're earning $1 million, I can save you chunks of tax that makes everything else we do for you free of charge. I can make all of our fees free. I can help you make more money if you're making more money. It's much easier. That's why you get this conversation of the rich get richer. Well, of course they do. They got bigger numbers to play with. If you can save a billionaire 1%, that's big money. That's real cash. Okay? So this thinking is where we've got to get ourselves into, is to what's in the gap. So in the gap here, there could be overwhelm, lack of confidence, or if you're feeling poor. Those three emotional signals are telling you what's in the gap between where you are now. I feel like this, but I want to feel like this. What's in the gap? What's going on in there? I've got these emotions. I'm worried. I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, and I'm lacking in confidence in what I'm trying to do. Great. That's a signal. Now take those things and let's look at the opposite. If it's all three, great. You've got lots of things to sort out. If it's just one, great. We've only got one thing to sort out. Having said that, look at how price, systems, and positioning all interlock. So whenever you move the needle on your pricing, it's going to move the needle on the other three as well. If, like I said earlier, you decided to charge more, put your big boy pants on and charge more, and somebody says yes, that's going to do massives for your confidence. But it's also going to give you a signal that maybe your marketing message needs to improve to go get more of those. Maybe your systems for delivering that need to get better because you charge more, therefore you feel like you've got to deliver even better quality, so you'll get better at what you're doing. Brilliant. These all interlink, but it starts off with the key areas that you feel. Now, as we then slay these and we say, do you know what? I don't feel overwhelmed anymore. Let's pick a color here. Let's get rid of the overwhelm. Let's get rid of the confidence and get rid of the feeling of poor. How do we feel? Well, actually, I feel really comfortable with money. I've got plenty of money. Life's great. I feel confident. I feel good. I feel healthy. I feel able to go out and deliver. I've got fantastic systems in place. Therefore, I don't have any overwhelm. Everything's organized, orderly. I've got a dashboard. I've got this. I can step away. I've got a great team. I've bought my time back. You're not going to feel like you're going to win. I think you are. So we've got to work out which bit to work on. Then what we do is we go to war with these and we go, okay, how can I fix my pricing? Well, take the things that you've been charging mathematically on a spreadsheet and go, here's all the things that I've been charging. Look at over the past 5 years, what have you been charging? Put a bit of a graph to it and go, right, that needs to go up. Great. But you won't believe you can put the price up because the economy is telling you otherwise. Right. Let's start reading some books on how I go about putting my prices up. Let's start talking to people who know how to put prices up. Let's engage the services of a coach, a mentor, an accountant to say, show me how I can put my prices up. Show me how I can link that into a better marketing message. Show me how I can change the way I do things to go about because I'm ready for change. Got to make some changes here. Show me how I can deliver a better service. Show me how I can take that better service, shine a light on it, and demonstrate to my future clients that we are the best in the world. Show me how to implement the systems to manage this. Show me how to put the AI in, the technology, the automation. Show me what I should be doing. I see people, and this is how I know that we have so much work to do helping people. I see people out there with systems and processes that they created in the 1980s, people writing up a sales invoice on a Word document, printing it out, copying and pasting it into another document, scanning it in an email. Some of the systems that people use are archaic because they refuse to change because it kind of works. Well, we might need to change things. We might need to get you paid in advance. How do we do that? We implement payment facilities. We implement a different contract with your client. We change the expectations. We change the marketing message. We change how we do things so that we can improve. I know this because I've done this with hundreds of clients over the last 35 years. I've worked with thousands of clients. Not everybody gets it. Not everybody likes change. A lot of people just refuse to even do anything about it. More importantly, I've done this myself. When I started out in business 35 years ago, I was running a typical accountancy practice, picking up client after client, doing tax returns and accounts. Today, that business sits in the background as a separate entity that supports everything else that we do. And because of that, the knowledge and information that we have from all that accounting knowledge, combined with all the coaching and mentoring that we've been doing, and it's not just me, it's Vicki as well, that we have been working on for the past 18 or 20 years, means that what we put together for our clients is at a completely different level to any other coach, mentor, or even accountant. We have a unique viewpoint of all of this, which has led to this sort of conversation. So, if any of that relates to you, if you're now wondering, what do I do to get, what have I got to do? Here's the practical next steps. I want you to sit down and evaluate these items here. And what I'll do is I'll put in the description a PDF that you can download, which will list the 10 things that make up these 3 circles. So there's 3 for price, positioning, and system, and goals in the middle. Score yourself out of 10. If you're 10 out of 10 because your pricing is the most expensive in your marketplace, great. If you're 2 out of 10 because your accounting system sucks and it's still pieces of paper in a cornflake box, it sucks, put a 2 out of 10. And out of that score of 10, you will be able to identify your lowest scores. Probably 3 of them will be your lowest scores. Only you score, it's for your benefit only. So be tough on yourself. Because if 10 out of 10 was for all these things here, you would be winning. And if you're not winning, something's wrong. And by listing those things out, you will discover that if you were to pick the lowest score item, let's say the lowest score item was rules and boundaries in positioning. Great, go fix that. What are the rules and boundaries for your business? That might take you a week to figure that out, talking to your team, talking to your spouse. What are the rules? We don't want 7 million rules. We've got 6 rules in our business up on the wall. That's our rules. We govern our business by those rules. And basically, if we break one of those rules, we or our clients suffer. One of the rules is turning up to meetings on time, finishing meetings on time. That's a simple rule. Now, that means that every meeting, every session is in our calendar with a start time and an end time. Our rule is we've got to follow the calendar. Because if we don't, all hell breaks loose. If I turn up to a meeting late, that doesn't help. If I overrun, might help the client I'm working with, doesn't help the next thing that I'm doing. And that could be personal or business. Oh, late home from dinner again. That's not helping the relationship if I keep turning up late for dinner. Okay, so that's one rule. And as you go through it, these low scores are going to be clues, because if you can turn something that's a 2 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10 in the next week or the next month, the impact on the overall, the needle between the gap of where you are, moves quite fast. Because if you're scoring a 2 out of 10 and you can get that up to a 6 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10, look where that needle moves towards the happiness. And therefore, each of the 10 things in there, if you can get them to be beyond this line, you'll get closer to winning. That's just a good starting point. I hope this helps in some sort of way. If you want more information, there's plenty more on this channel to watch and study. There's a whole series all about this. It's based on our book, Rock Solid Growth. You can go and get a copy of the book. You can see the whole video series on it where I go into each one of these things in detail. But the point of this channel, the point of everything we're doing here, is to help you as a business owner who's sitting there at the moment going, I'm frustrated, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I'm worried, I don't know which way to turn, and get you to win. And this is the framework we use with our clients all of the time. It's a moving target. Life is coming at us at all different directions. The economy is fighting with you all the time. The customers, everything's a fight. We've all got to work our way through this. What I just need is for you to take this information, go do something about it. And put in the comments what you're going to do. Maybe let me know in the comments, what's the one thing that you're going to work on next? And we'll see you in the next video.